Yesterday we shot a video called Christians, Sorcery, and Disease. And because of that, I got lots and lots of comments and lots of questions. So today I want to address some of those. And this whole presentation is about life is in the blood. Because in Leviticus it says the life of the flesh is in the blood. So think about this. When you get in your car and you go for a ride, you don't care what happens when you turn the key and it starts because it works. But our body's a little different. There's some things that we need to know about our body because if our car breaks, we can replace some parts and everything's fine. But our body wasn't designed that way. Our Creator designed our bodies to regenerate, to repair, to fix themselves. So one of the ways that they do that is at the cellular level, and at the cellular level, cells need certain things. Cells need water. Cells need nutrients. Cells need to be detoxified. So how does the blood work? Well, let's go back to when Columbus landed here and we met the Native Americans. Now, the Native Americans, I'm going to tell you, were light years ahead of us Europeans when it came to wellness. Because when we landed here, they talked about the two blood systems. Do you know it wasn't until 1961 that Dr. Arthur Guyton started studying the second blood system, and we know it as lymph. We have red blood cells and clear blood cells. Well, the clear blood cells came out of the red blood cell system. Let me explain a little bit to you about that. We know we have red blood. We cut your finger and you see red, right? But if you get an infection, you don't see red, you see clear. Well, the clear is lymph fluid, and the red blood cells are red blood cells. So here's how it works. Within our red blood system, we have red blood cells and we have leukocytes. Leukocytes are clear blood cells. When leukocytes go through the capillaries, they leak out of the capillaries into what we call the lymph system, and they become lymphocytes, the same cell. It's a leukocyte when it's in the red system. It's a lymphocyte when it's in the lymph system. So here's how it works. The leukocytes pick up nutrients and water and oxygen, and they leak out into the lymph system, and within the lymph system, they're carried to the cells. And then from there, they go back into the thoracic duct, up through our shoulder, into our left shoulder, back into our spleen. They go back into the red blood system. So the circulatory system is circulating. Well, we have a heart, right? And the heart pumps the red blood cells. And it works on a sodium-potassium pump. It's the balance of sodium and potassium in our body that works our heart. But our lymph system doesn't have a pump. It works by vertical movement and deep inhalation. So when our blood is working with individual independent cells, we're healthy. When the cells start to coagulate or stick together, we become unhealthy. 5,000 years ago, the Chinese said constriction is disease. And it's true. Constriction is disease. So I've put a little model together, see if I can help you to understand this. Because our blood vessels, our capillaries, our arteries, they're kind of like these straws. And I'm going to take a little BB and I'm going to drop it through a straw, and it goes through just fine. And that's the way our blood cells are when they're working properly. They're like the little BB going through the straw. But what happens when they get stuck together? When they get stuck together, they're like this, and they don't go through the straw very well. I can force them through, but they're not going to flow through the straw. Well, it's the same way with our blood system. When our blood cells are independent, you've heard of blood clots, right? What do you think a blood clot is? It's blood cells sticking together. But they're sticking together in such a large, compact part that they can cause aneurysms, they can cause heart attacks, they can cause death. So how would it be if we could get our blood cells to become independent? Well, we'd probably have better health, wouldn't we? Well, so I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some of the stuff that we do to achieve that in our lives. One of the things that we do is we make sure that we have lots of liquid in our body. We have lots of water. Now, if you want to wash your car, You wouldn't do it with sludge, would you? You do it with water. Because what is water? Water's a cleanser. Water cleans things. Water carries off things and it carries things on. We put soap in water, we rub it on our car, it breaks down the dirt, and we take clear water and we flush it out. Well, our body's the same way. We have to put water in our body in order for our body to function properly. Because what are our blood cells made up of? Well, they're mostly water. In fact, the biggest portion, the biggest single component in our body is leukocytes and lymphocytes. Now, we know that 70% of our body is liquid, and 80% of that 70% is both leukocytes and lymphocytes. 8 times 7 is 56%. We're 56% leukocytes and lymphocytes. So here's some of the stuff that Patricia and I do. And I want you to understand that you are responsible for you, and I am responsible for me. Now, if we run to somebody else to take care of us, we're being irresponsible. But we live in a culture that's brainwashed us to make us believe that somebody else should be responsible for us. Well, I want to go back to the beginning. The Father gave us the greatest gift anybody could ever receive. He gave us the gift of being able to choose. So we can choose what we do. We can choose what happens to us. We can choose whether we go to heaven, or we can choose not to go to heaven. If we don't go to heaven, well, there's another place that we can go. But we choose. So we have choices in our whole life. Now, do you know on a mortality table that medical doctors are really low on the table? Do you know that dentists and medical doctors have the highest suicide rates in the country? Well, that's sad. But they must be under a huge amount of pressure, or they see all the suffering that goes on, and they don't want to suffer. Well, we don't have to suffer if we're healthy. So how do we get healthy? Well, Patricia and I got some bottles like this. We squeeze lemon juice. This is fresh lemon juice. We keep it in a bottle. We put a little bit in the bottom of this bottle. We take some stevia, some natural stevia, and I've got a list of where you can get all this stuff. We put a few drops in the bottom of the bottle. We fill it with distilled water, and that's what we drink. Now, what's it taste like? It tastes like lemonade. So why do we use stevia? Because stevia is 30 times sweeter than sugar, and stevia stabilizes blood sugar. And it doesn't break down the immune system like granulated sugar does. Granulated sugar is one molecule different than cocaine, and it's addictive. And if you don't think it's addictive, stop it for a week and see if you don't have some detox effects. You probably will. So that's one of the things I do. I drink lots of lemon water. Now, Patricia drinks lots of water with Alkazone in it. Now, Alkazone is a chelated mineral compound. Minerals are from plants. So she drinks water with Alkazone. I'll send you that list of where to get that stuff too. We take oxygen. We take extra oxygen, and we drink a product called Protovite. And let me tell you what Protovite does. Protovite is broken down in such a small, almost pre-digested state that when you put it in your mouth, it absorbs into your tissue. Now, if you take a tablet, or you take a gel cap, or you take a pill, and you put it in your system, you get somewhere between 10% and 30% of absorption value. That's how much of it you're going to absorb. And a lot of stuff, be honest with you, a lot of stuff people take doesn't get absorbed at all and just goes right through your system and goes into the toilet. Well, when you put it under your tongue, when you do it sublingually, 95% of it goes directly into your system, directly into your bloodstream. Whether it goes into the white bloodstream, some of it does, into the red bloodstream, some of it does. So you absorb it. So you get this nutrition that actually goes in. Now, one of the things that I have Patricia do, because Patricia doesn't like salads, and it's really important to have salads or roughage or chlorophyll, because chlorophyll is one molecule different than hemoglobin, which is red blood cells. And so Patricia eats a product called Sun Chlorella. And Sun Chlorella is little tablets, and you eat about 15 of them. Well, 15 of those little Sun Chlorella tablets, they equal a large garden salad in chlorophyll. Now, what does chlorophyll do? Chlorophyll builds your blood. In fact, the gentleman that started the company was dying of cancer in his 60s, and the old swamp man had a young boy take him some of this chlorella in a jar, and he drank it, and he lived. And I met him when he was in his late 90s. An amazing fella. So what else do? We take care of ourselves. We don't eat garbage. We don't eat junk. Now let me talk about some junk. When I was a boy, my two uncles, my sister, my mom's brothers, had dairy farms in New England. And in the summertime, I would leave from Washington, D.C. My parents would ship me off to the farm for the summer because I was always in trouble. And I'd go to the farm and I learned how to pull teats, milk cows. Back when I started, we didn't have milking machines. We did it with our hands. And I learned to bale hay and throw hay, and I learned to use a pitchfork. And I learned to massage horses, and from that I got into the massage industry much later on in life. But I got those foundational things. But here's what I learned. Dairy products make your blood thick like glue. We don't eat dairy. Now, do we completely don't eat dairy? No. We'll have a piece of cheese once in a while. Sometimes we'd be really bad and we'll have some ice cream. But generally speaking, our diet is lacking dairy products. The other thing we don't eat, and almost everybody does, and every fat person I know eats lots of it, is wheat, bread. Bread is, if you take a piece of bread and you put it up into a glob, that's what it goes through your colon like, and it restricts things that go through your body so you don't detox very well. So why am I telling you all this? Because I want you to understand that life is in the blood. Now, do you know that when Adam and Eve walked in the garden and they sinned, do you know what God had to do? He had to draw blood to cover them in skins. Do you think God's happy about drawing blood? No, absolutely not. He's not happy about having to kill things, to do things. He's not happy about us killing each other. He's not happy about us killing ourselves. And how do we do that? We do a lot of that with our lifestyle because we don't take care of our blood. Well, a couple things I want to share with you. How do you get your blood to come down to the single cell level, like in this straw, like this BB? So how do we get it down to this place that each cell is working independently? Well, that's the mystery, but I'm going to settle it for you. There's two ways that we do that. There's two things that I know of that do that. If you do O2 drops, over a season of time, your blood separates and your blood works independently. If you do the Protavite with us, Protavite in 5 minutes under an actual live dark field microscope, you can literally see the difference where blood's sticking together like these 3 BBs and blood becomes independent. Because your life is in the blood, you need good circulation. So I'm thinking about doing something else. I'm going to start something. I'm going to start a group for people. It's called the Independent Mature Adults Group. And it's built around getting people independent again. Now, over the years, I've taken lots of people that had things like MS and gotten them out of wheelchairs and got them back on their feet. And part of it's nutritional, and part of it's using a mechanism called a NEDAC rebounder. So I'll talk to you about that later, but here's the thing. You've got to have clean blood. The only way you're going to have clean blood is to put clean things into your body. Now, what builds your blood? Oxygen, water, chlorophyll. Eat lots of spinach, eat lots of roughage. Do things that make sense. Take care of your body because your life is in your blood, and if you don't take care of your blood, I'm going to tell you something. In fact, we have people in the family that have diabetes, and their circulation's really bad. But, sadly to say, they eat a lot of garbage. They eat dairy products, and they eat a lot of wheat, and it just makes it worse. Well, if you don't have good circulation, part of it is because the blood's sticking together, and part of it is other problems. But you know, a lot of that can be fixed. I know diabetics that have gotten completely off of their insulin, gotten completely healthy by changing their diets. So does that have an influence on what happens to you? Absolutely. Does it affect your blood? Absolutely. If you don't put lots of water in your system and you don't do some movement to get your lymph system working, you can't be healthy. So I want to send you a sheet of paper that's got this stuff on it. And some of it, you get from us, and we get a little commission from it. I do. And most of it we don't. I just send you to the sources that I have because I don't want you to pay big prices for anything. I want you to get everything for as least expense that you can possibly get, but I want you to get as healthy as we are. So I'm going to leave you with this thought. If you don't take care of your blood and you have constriction, you're going to have disease. So you have to get rid of that with lots of liquid and exercise. So God bless you.